Committee, did I get that right? Great Ponds Gallery Art Committee. I'd like to welcome you all to this reception and thank all the artists and all the people that participated in making this happen. I'd also like to mention that we have on November 11th we have Veterans Day coming up, which is organized by the Historical Commission, and it'll be at 10:30 starting at the Assawamsa School if anybody has an interest in attending Veterans Day activities. December 14th is a program made in Lakeville at the Lakeville Library. So it's December 14th. And does anybody else want to make any comments that I might have missed? Or? Well, thank you all for being here, and very nice of you to come, and very nice of you all to participate in holding this event. Thank you.
All right, I'm here at the Picture This Old House exhibit, and I'm joined by Tony Card yet again. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
And this month we have two paintings by you, watercolors of the Spooner House. Now, you want to talk about when you guys went out there and how this came about?
Well, Lil has been very generous in allowing. I have a group of friends that we try to go out once a week and paint out on location. And she's been very generous about allowing us to wander in through her yard and trample all over everything and take pictures and do sketches and stuff in her yard. And as you can see, it's a beautiful yard. They've put in those koi ponds themselves and all the plantings and everything. They were working on that little building up there when we were there last, and it's just a gorgeous yard. And you know, when they were looking for something for this old house, I thought, well, you know, if they were looking for something including people's lifestyles, that nothing would be better than showing off what a beautiful job they've done with that yard, and it's just absolutely gorgeous for us to wander through and paint. And there's something everywhere to see that's really beautiful there.
Oh yeah, you've really captured the essence of the backyard, which is something you didn't see in a lot of these others where they really focus more on the house. You really focus on, you know, the beauty of the landscaping and everything. Now, was this your intention, or did this just come about? Did this just catch your eye?
Oh, you just go with whatever catches your eye, what you know pleases the eye, and where you see a good picture. You know, another time I might go down there and paint the house, but in this particular, there's so much in the yard that's so beautiful that I don't think anybody really got too much looking at the house.
Right, and I really enjoy the painting of the koi pond as well. The way you captured the fish and the movement is just great, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us, Tony.
Thank you.
I'm here with Patricia McMahon, who painted these watercolors of the Levi Pierce house. Now, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you went out there and decided to paint these three particular paintings?
Yes. After I had decided that I liked the looks of this house, I wanted to be sure that the owner of the house was agreeable.
Of course.
So I went to meet him, and he was very friendly, invited me in. We had a nice chat. He turns out to be a historian of the street. He's actually written a book about the street area. I asked him what would be his idea of a good interpretation. He said he liked all three buildings, the barn, the house, the garage, but his favorite was the barn. So I tried to incorporate that into my paintings. I wanted to show that the three buildings were arranged in that order, and then I made another painting of his barn, since that was his favorite, and I love the stone wall in front of his house, so I included that as well.
Yeah, and the stone wall, especially in the wider angle here with the garage and the barn, it looks really nice and really kind of ties it all together in that blank space you have there, and it just looks great.
Thank you.
And I really hope to see more from you in the future. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm joined here by Leslie Metzler of Lakeville, and you actually own the Isaac Sampson house here that you quilted. Now, do you know a little bit of the history about this house?
I do. It was built sometime before 1860, and
was originally 2 houses down from its current location. And when they moved it in about 1860, they cut the house in half. The 2-story part was one section, and then the 1-story part behind it was the second. They moved it, and then after it was moved, they added the summer kitchen and the barn. So this was the original part, which, as you see from the original pictures, the porches were added in the 1900s. So.
That must have been quite an effort to try and move the house, especially in that time period, without all the heavy lifting equipment that we use nowadays. Now, you want to talk about how you did this quilt? And it really pops out at you, the 3-dimensional work. It just looks amazing. I just want to know how this all came about.
Well, the first thing you do is pick the horizon, and then it was just built in layers. I didn't want, with this part here, with the railings, I didn't want it to just be striped fabric. I wanted it to be 3-dimensional, to look through it. So yeah, it's just built up in layers and layers and layers. So behind all of the railings, this is completed as that layer, and then it's just built on top of it.
That's amazing, and it has to, require a lot of patience to be able to work layer by layer.
About 300 hours. Yeah, it took a long time, but since I own the house, it'll now be over my mantle, so it'll be on display.
Well, it's absolutely lovely. Thank you for showing it with us, and we look forward to seeing more from you.
All right, thanks.
I'm here with Kelly Studer from Lakeville, correct? And now this children's desk here is inspired by the 100th birthday for Assawamsett, correct?
Yes.
Now you want to talk about how you got this desk? You don't see very many like it anymore.
It was an unfinished piece of furniture that my sister had bought for her child. Her daughter at the time was 5 years old. And now that child is 20 and has no use for the desk anymore. So I have acquired it, and it was just inspired by the 100-year-old Assawamsett and figured it was a school desk. It was a great match.
And I really enjoy all the painting and work you put into it to keep that school theme here with the books and the Assawamsett Eagle. You want to explain a little bit about how you chose these artworks?
The face of the desk in the front had the natural break of the wood, so that was an inspiration for an eagle's wing. It just looked like it to me. So to hide the error of the wood, I just made it into something. And then, of course, the eagles fly over Assawamsett Playground a lot, so I figured that would be a good background. And then the desktop, of course, you want to see work on the desk. So I took my daughter's old paperwork, schoolwork from Assawamsett, and made a collage out of her actual child work, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And then the bricks, of course, are very, representative of Assawamsett. It's all brick. So I had to put bricks somewhere, and that held up the seat because you don't want your child falling out of their desk. And then, of course, the old books, hoping to go back to some titles that were old, so I grabbed, Tom Sawyer Classic, things like that. And then, of course, on the other side is the chalkboard paint. You have to have chalkboard at school. And I love my chalkboard paint. I use it on everything, and it's very workable. So it's kind of a functioning piece of artwork.
It's absolutely amazing. You have to come down here and look at it, folks. Kelly Studer from Lakeville did an absolutely great job on this desk, and thank you for showing it to us.
Great, thanks for being here.
All right. Hi, I'm joined here by Veronica Studer and her charcoal drawing of the Ward House. Now, how exactly did you go about doing this? This looks like a lot to just do in one day right there, so I'm sure you had to take some pictures.
Yeah. I actually went to the house and I talked to the guy about taking a few pictures, and he was all right with it.
And so how did you get into charcoal and doing drawings like this? I'm sure this couldn't have been your first one.
No, I've been working with it for like a few years now, but I don't know. I just thought it would be like nice to capture the house in like a grayscale as opposed to all color. So yeah. Yep.
Well, it looks great. We really enjoy the artwork, and it really pops, and you can definitely tell the age of the house, and it just looks beautiful. And thank you for showing it. I'm here with Betty Ashley and her painting of the Dr. John Sampson house. Now, this is a great house. You want to tell us a little bit about how you came to paint this?
Well, I liked the looks of it. That's what attracted me to it. Plus, it's the John Sampson house. My husband's name is John, so that was kind of fun. But I've been taking pictures of the house since May. All summer long, I took pictures. Then the trees kind of hid it then. But this was my favorite view with the maple tree turning orange in the fall, and I just liked it. So that's why I chose that view of the house.
Well, the fall foliage, I mean, really adds to the color and just brings out this whole painting and brings the whole thing to life. And it just looks amazing. How long have you been working with acrylics?
I've been doing artwork all my life and enjoying every little bit of it, finding new things, trying different things. So all my life, I guess.
Well, it looks like you've clearly, nearly mastered your craft. The shadows on the front of this house, just amazing. And I want to say thank you so much for sharing this with us. I'm joined here by Mary Bork. She painted this watercolor painting of the Lakeville United Church of Christ. Now, you want to tell me how this caught your eye?
It caught my eye because it's in the main intersection in our town, and I've always said I want to paint that church someday. And lo and behold, it happened that very, very close friends were having a daughter married in it. That they are from London, they're here in this summer, and their daughter really wanted to be married in this church, so I decided to paint the painting for a wedding gift for her. So that is why the original is in Brazil, where they now live, and this is a print that I had made to be in the exhibit today, and to have for myself because I like it very much.
Well, of course, I can see why you like it so much. I mean, the shading on this is just wonderful. I like the light purples there and how the gradations of it all. Even in the print, it still really pops out to you, and it looks great. Now, how long have you been working in watercolors?
I would say probably about 12 to 15 years. After retiring, I saw a blurb in the senior newsletter that there was going to be a watercolor class at the senior center. And here I am, 12 whatever years later, liking watercolor very much and enjoying having done it. And still taking classes from two different people, Betty Ashley being one of them. Yeah, I think you interviewed and met Betty. Yeah.
That is absolutely great. We really hope you continue, and thank you so much for sharing your artwork with us. We really appreciate it. Hi, I'm joined here by Mona Dumoulin-Cross. Thank you so much for joining us, Mona.
Thanks for having me, Alan.
No problem. And, you've been on the show before. Now, this particular painting is a sheep from the Wendy Hill Farm, correct?
Yes.
Now, I know you like to do a lot of animals. You want to tell me about how you came about this, to paint this particular sheep?
Well, I went over to the farm and took a number of photographs, and I ended up going online and getting more photographs to try to get the right angles, and I ended up working from a black and white and then adding color and detail from my photos. So, yeah.
That's got to be a little bit easier or tougher than just painting from one particular photo, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you have a little more freedom this way. So we had fun, and since they're known for their weaving and all the colored yarn, we put lots of color in them.
Excellent. And I noticed this one's a pastel, and I know you do all sorts of different mediums as far as painting goes. Now, why did you choose pastel for this particular one?
Well, the time factor is always nice. You don't have to worry about it drying, and I really love the textures that you get with pastel. So I use the sanded paper, and it comes out really nice and textural and easy peasy.
Well, excellent. It looks great, and we, as always, love your artwork here and look forward to seeing more of it.
Thanks so much, Alan.
I'm joined here with Linda Connolly and Ann Mills, and this exhibit here is from the Baker Orchards. Now, I understand that you guys both have a unique connection to the Baker Orchards. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
I think that's been the most fun aspect of being involved in the exhibit. Our property that we currently live on is part of the original Baker Orchards. We had several trees left on our lot when we moved in, and I happily got to meet Ann and her family because she lives down the street, and she has explained some of the history of the area to me and explained that where the apple trees came from and how it all came to be in that area.
No, I understand you are related to the Bakers. You want to talk a little bit about some of the history there?
My grandfather and grandmother actually bought the land in around the early 1900s. And when my uncle Ralph came back from the First World War, my grandfather helped him set out the orchard. So it goes way back till the 1920s, actually. So my uncle ran it all his life. That was his livelihood. He ran the orchard. And my mother lived in the original house where my grandparents lived. And we built next door, then we eventually built over where the orchard is in that area now. That's where the new road is. That's where Linda lives. So it's been in my family for many, many years.
And Anne shared the story of the orchards with me and explained that you had an apple barn. And unfortunately couldn't find the photos of that, but she did explain about that they had an apple shed and that's almost like a cold storage cellar where the apples were stored, and then they went to market in Providence. Is that correct?
Yeah, right, correct.
So that was the impetus for me doing a label. They never had a packing label on their crates when the fruit went to market. And I've always been a fan of antique packing crates, labels, that type of artwork. So I thought, let's make one up that would have been for Baker Orchards. So that's what I did. And then from there, I also created this piece just as something that meant something personally to me with the apples in the area.
Well, that's excellent. And you did all of this with colored pencil and pen. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's ink pen, like a marker type ink pen. And the base work is all, the colored obviously is all with colored pencil work. It's a little surprising for people to imagine or to see what happens with a colored pencil drawing, because it's several layers, layer upon layer upon layer, to get the coloring and the look that you want. So it's been a challenge for me, but it's been a lot of fun.
Very pleased with it. She did a nice job. She really
Thank
did.
you.
She did a very nice job. Yeah, right.
Well, we really enjoy it. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, and we really look forward to seeing more from you in the future. So I'm joined here by Phyllis Vincent of Middleborough and her watercolor painting of the Smith-Willems McCulley House. Now, you want to talk a little bit about what caught your eye with this particular painting? The house.
Well, I like the house because it's very plain. It looked very, very old, and the door is what first caught my attention. Very large, old, large board door with the hinges. Just sort of stood out.
Well,
the simplicity of the old house.
Right, and it still maintains a lot of that simplicity to this day, and it carries forward. Now, did you work from a photograph for this house, or did you actually paint this while looking at it?
I took several photographs and then worked on it at home.
And I see you did this in watercolor. How long have you been working in watercolors?
I was an art teacher for 34 years, and I think I taught watercolor more than I actually did it. But now that I've been retired, I've been putting a lot of attention into watercolor the last 5 years.
Well, it looks absolutely great. It's so bright and vibrant, especially for watercolors. And it just seems to jump off the page at you. And thank you so much for sharing it with us, and we look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm joined here by Gail Dowd, and these are your colored pencil drawings of the Levi Pierce house, correct?
Yes.
Now, you want to tell me a little bit about what caught your eye about this particular house?
Well, just the different textures in the stone wall and the side of the barn, the natural shingles, and the boards, just the whole thing. I just like working with the textures.
Well, you can really see the texture, especially in the stone wall and the shingles on the side of the barn right there, like you were saying. But even right here in the roof tiles, you can see quite a bit of the texture you added. How long have you been working with colored pencils that get this sort of effect?
Well, on and off throughout the years, but I've been working with them a lot in the last couple of years. And that's why I wanted to do this project. It just kind of drew my attention. I haven't really done houses before in barns. That's not the thing I usually do. But I thought I'd give it a try. And I really enjoy doing it. Just trying to get the little details in the house too, like the little windows around the door, and like I said, even just working with the nature behind it. I usually draw from nature.
And did you take photographs of this and work from those, or did you actually work from the house?
No, I work from photographs. I took probably about 5 to 8 photographs of the house and a couple of the barn. I was concentrating on the house first. I did that first. And then I decided, I finished it in plenty of time. I had time to do the barn, so I went back and took another 1 or 2 pictures of the barn. And I kind of enjoy doing that better. I like doing them, yeah. But, just working with the nature around it, too. That's what I usually do, is working, I go on the trails in the woods a lot, and just like being outside, so I try to get the texture of, rocks and water, everything, trees.
Well, you did an absolutely great job with this. I really love the texture, especially the stone wall right here in the front with the little fence and gate. It looks amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, and we really look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Okay, I will be. I'll be around. Thank you.